Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Glee, and it's going to be a fun one because we're ranking my top 10 favorite songs in Glee Season 2. And this is going to be so much fun. Why? Because Season 2 and 3 are the seasons that I have really watched the most. They're the seasons that have the songs that I have put in my playlist, my regular playlist on Spotify. So it was hard for me to figure out what to put. There's like 130 something songs in season 2, and by the end of it I had 27 songs that I considered a banger. For the full lengthy breakdown of all of my classifications, go watch my season 1 video. But I had them all classified as bangers, and then I had to narrow that down to 10. But I managed to do it in the end. It's part of the reason why this video took so long for me to do, but it's here now. And I'm not as surprised by my number 1 as I was in season 1, but you're gonna have to wait and find out. Obviously you can skip, but don't. Watch it in order. Anyway, the one thing that I wanted to mention before I dive right in is that I did not include Christmas songs in this ranking. And it's not because I don't like the Christmas songs. They're great. A large number of them I listen to on Christmas every year. But I don't feel like they really have a place in like a top 10. If you're going to say, oh, my favorite songs from Glee, and then you say like the Christmas songs, I don't know, it's like, that's like a whole separate thing. You can do a whole entire video of like your favorite Glee Christmas songs, you know what I mean? So I kept them off the list, but I did want to just mention that it's intentional, and it's not that I don't think any of those songs are good enough to be a top 10, it's just that I wanted them separate, okay? All right, I think I'm just gonna get into it. So here are my top 10 songs from Glee Season 2. Let's talk about it. So at number 10, and starting us off, to no one's surprise, I'm sure, especially if you watched my season 1 ranking, Mercedes. All right, we have Mercedes singing I Look to You. Such a beautiful song. We have Mercedes on the lead and Tina and Quinn doing the backup, and I think both of them are really good choices for this one, because the general vibe of the song, is it's supposed to be emotional. It's not the like overpowering belting kind of thing, and so the two of them, their voices have this like softer, not to say that Tina cannot deliver. She kills it in Dog Days Are Over as well, and she holds her own against Mercedes, but like for when it's needed in this particular moment, she's able to have this softer tone. And Quinn's voice, I talk about it more in another song that's coming up that I'm sure you can guess what it is, that features her a little bit more, but the tone of her voice, like the quality of her voice, is this soft, really beautiful quality that I like a lot. And I really feel like they underutilized her voice in Glee, but it works really well for this song. And backing up Mercedes, who of course I might as well get it out of the way now. Mercedes vocals are always 10 out of 10. Always. I have literally nothing. It's going to be so repetitive if I say it every single time. I just think she kills it, right? We all know that. So the vocals I gave a complete 10 out of 10. The performance, there's not really much going on. It's just, she's just standing there, and while there are other songs on this list where I think the performance is somewhat similar, there's at least some elements to it that make it more of a performance, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's the camera work, or like they've edited in a montage of some kind that makes it as a whole, when you're watching it, contribute somewhat to the song. But this one is there's not a lot of movement even in the camera work and stuff like that, so I gave it a little bit lower. I gave it a 4. And then last but not least, the story. And this one is, I wasn't really sure what to do with it at first. I had to think about it because the story is like the it starts off the entire thing with Kurt's dad and everybody doing a bunch of performances for Kurt's dad after he has the heart attack and he's in the hospital. And it starts the religious aspect of stuff where, because that's where the storyline ends up going, where everybody is so shocked that Kurt is not religious and they kind of start trying to force religion onto him. I'm not a huge fan of that storyline. But this performance itself really doesn't have anything to do with it. So I did, in the end, separate it from that. And it's just Mercedes feeling bad for her friend, whose dad is in the hospital, and she's just giving a heartfelt performance for him. And it's beautiful. So I gave it an 8. Meaning overall, I Look to You at number 10 has 22. At number 9, do you want to guess what it is? If number 10 is Mercedes, number 9 is going to be Santana Lopez. She's bringing us in number 9, Valerie. And I don't know, guys. Honestly, I think this might be just, on the whole, one of the best songs in Glee. Because, first of all, I think it's the first time that we're actually getting to see Santana lead a song. Like, we've seen her do her duets with Mercedes, and we've gotten a little bit of taste of what she can do and what her voice sounds like. But I think that this is the first time we're actually getting to see that she can actually lead a song, you know, like she can carry a performance the way that Mercedes does, the way that Rachel does. And it's such a fun time. I mean, like, the song is fast and she brings the energy. Her voice, of course, is beautiful. We know that. I think that goes without saying. Her voice is beautiful, but I think that it's more than that in terms of the way she's able to put in different energy or emotion depending on what the song is that she's singing. And that's, for this one, there's that attitude, you know, that like sass, that Amy Winehouse energy that she's able to bring in just the voice. Like, we're going to talk about the performance, but even just in her voice, you know, you can, it's there and you feel it. It's just like, it's a banger, basically, is what I'm saying. And then actually going into the performance, of course, we know, like, Mike and Brittany did the whole choreography and it was fantastic. Of course, again, it's the first time that we're actually getting to see the dancers like dance. They're not doing the traditional New Directions mediocre like footwork and arm raising kind of performance, but we're actually getting to see what it means to dance. And side note, this is what I was talking about in my last video when I said we don't give Vocal Adrenaline the respect that they deserve, because this level of dancing, Brittany and Mike, is what they do all the time, all of them. So this level from Brittany and Mike, you know, of course it's amazing, of course it's a 10 out of 10. But I think that the thing that I like as well in terms of the performance is that they didn't just let Brittany and Mike take the stage and everybody else is doing nothing. Like, at least for the first half of the performance, all the other New Directions are in the background, and then they're also not just swaying, you know what I mean? They're doing dance moves. They're doing the best that they can. And in the second half, I think, is where they really start to want to focus in on Brittany and Mike. So they do a little bit less in the background, but I allow it because I think it happens as well with Santana, where in the beginning, and again, this is what I like about the performance. In the beginning, she's not just standing singing and Brittany and Mike are dancing. Like, she's also working the stage and the crowd, and she's having fun with her, the rest of the team. You know, she's like interacting with them and stuff like that. She's bringing her own sass and energy, and that also contributes to the vibe of the song as well, I think. And then in the second half, she does that a little bit less, and that's why I'm saying I think that they really wanted to focus on Mike and Brittany in the second part, because even their dancing like gets it amps up as well. But yeah, I mean, performance just amazing. The only thing that I kind of didn't give it a 10 for is because of the new directions in the background. Second half, I think it was a little bit. There was a moment where I was like, "What are these guys doing?" I don't know, but yeah. And then the story, unfortunately, is one of the reasons why this is not higher up on the list, because it's just there isn't really a story here. I think it's sectionals, and the only thing aside from sectionals that I can say about it is that it's basically the reason why it's Santana performing is because they basically were like, we just don't want Rachel to be the one in the lead anymore. Mr. Shu is trying to prove that he can do something different, and so he's like, Quinn and Sam are gonna do the duet instead of Rachel and Finn, and then we're gonna have Santana, and he feels like mind blowing stuff, and both of them are good performances. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not really much of a story. There's no substance much to it. So, I give it a 3.5, and which gives it a total of 22.5. And I will say that I added that little 0.5 after when I was going through it, because I didn't want it to have the same score as I Look to You. And I just figured, like, I think that Valerie just has a little bit more of an edge on I Look to You. Might be biased to Santana, might be my bias towards just faster songs. I don't know. If you want to hold that 0.5 against me, go for it. All right, this one is another one where the performer. Okay, so this is Blaine, When I Get You Alone, and I think it might be the only Warblers performance that I have on this list. Don't hate me. I know the Warblers songs are amazing. Trust me, I have them on my playlist. I think they're amazing performers. But first of all, it was stiff competition, and second, a lot of times the problem with the Warblers songs is they just have no story. So they were just ranking very low because of that. But vocals are always amazing. And I think honestly that Blaine is the best male vocalist on Glee. Now, I've not forgotten about Jesse. I'm not sleeping on Jesse. He's amazing as well. But I think we just get more of Blaine. And we get to experience him more, and he sings so many different types of songs that it would be honestly open for debate. I'd be happy to say between Jesse and Blaine, who is better, but I love Blaine's voice. And I think that for me, one of my favorite things is that you can always hear the passion when he sings. And with a performance like this one, or like Cough Syrup, oh my god, it's just like you can hear it, in his voice. It's like this intensity, and this like there's this thing he does where it's just like, oh, it just gets, I don't know how to describe it, okay? But you guys know what I'm talking about. It's Blaine's voice is amazing, and this performance is fun. So the vocals are 10 out of 10. The performance is fun as well. They're at the Gap store, so they're using a lot of their environment. They're going under tables, over tables. They're playing with the racks of clothes and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of movement going around the store. And then you have like the guy himself is feeling awkward, and so it adds a little bit of comedy to it, and Blaine just being so oblivious to how he actually feels about the whole thing. And there's this one guy in the Warblers who does a lot of backflips all the time, and I usually feel like it's so weird. Like the backflips just don't usually fit in with the performance, and I'm always like, why? And since I don't have any other songs on here that I can talk about it, I'm just gonna slip it in over here. In this particular performance, I appreciate it because it kind of adds to that feeling of like this performance is so extra and so embarrassing for this guy, and so inappropriate for the setting. So the backflips and stuff, it's like, yeah, it works for this performance. But in general, it made me wonder when I was watching them if if they were actually playing these songs, like the music was playing when the warblers were dancing, because I'm like, some of these songs you would not do a backflip to, you know what I mean? And I'm like, maybe they were just playing music and they were like, okay, you guys dance, we'll get some b-roll, because I don't know, it's weird. But here it works. And so there, I like the performance. They're not vocal adrenaline or Brittany and Mike or anything like that, but it's good and it's fun. So I give it a 7. As for the story, um, it's Blaine has a crush on this guy, and he decides he's gonna go serenade him where he works, and it's so interesting because that's who Blaine is, that's who Kurt is, and they're so perfect for each other, but they're not together at the moment. And like, if Blaine decided to go serenade Kurt literally anywhere, Kurt would love it. Like that he would be so happy. He would be dying, right? But this particular boy is more like me. I would absolutely hate this. And he is not happy about it. He's so awkward and stuff like that. And Kurt starts off wanting to be, he's supportive, he's there for his friend, he's part of the performance and stuff, but he's jealous as well because obviously he wanted to be him, he's in love with Blaine. So that's the story of this whole thing. And it's an interesting song to choose to serenade somebody, but it sounds amazing. So the whole element with Kurt in it makes it a little bit more interesting for me. Just the fact that it's the wrong gesture for it's a right gesture for the wrong person, and just going to show all the reasons why Kurt and Blaine are just made for each other. And it's an interesting start to their epic romance. So I gave it a 6 in terms of story, just because of that. So overall, it has a 23. Thankfully, I was right, and we do have a Rachel song on the list. This Papa, can you hear me? Man, I don't think I'll ever forget the first time I heard this song, or like I watched this episode and this song played, because it was so moving. And this was like, I mean, when I was watching Glee for the first time, I was fully on the we hate Rachel Berry train, right? I was loath to give her any credit ever. And actually, the first time that I was watching Glee, I skipped through a lot of performances when it was songs that I did not know. It was actually on my second time rewatching the show that I forced myself to sit through songs that I didn't know. And then I ended up realizing how stupid it was to do that the first time, because there's so many songs that I ended up liking, and it really changed a lot of the way, like my taste in music moving forward. But so this was one of the songs I feel like I must have skipped the first time, because when I heard it, I was like, I don't know, it moved me, I've never heard this song before, and I couldn't have ever told you even where it was from or anything like that, but it was just so beautiful. And the way that Rachel sings it with the she's so soft. And I to date, I've still never even actually listened to the original, so I don't even know if that's just actually how it's performed. I think it might be. I think it's a Barbra Streisand song, I think. But yeah, it's just the way it starts off so soft, and she's whispering, and then it builds, but it also doesn't get to that belting Rachel kind of thing. It's still just kind of very emotional. I love it. And then the performance itself, obviously they're not moving. At first they're just sitting down, but the candles and everything, and the setting, the mood, it's all there. And the camera work makes it feel like there's movement, and it's kind of growing and swelling with the song as well. So it works for me. And then the only thing that I kind of don't like so much about it is at the end when they're at the hospital and then Rachel like touches Bert. I don't know why I always find that very weird. Like, I don't think in my entire life I've ever touched my friend's parents. Like maybe a handshake, you know what I mean? And that might be weird. That might be like my culture, but I don't know. It's always, every time I see it, I'm always just like, it's weird. It just puts me off. So I kind of docked it a couple points for that. But overall, fantastic. So vocals, 10 out of 10. And the stage presence itself, I gave it a bit, I give it a 5.5. As I said, there's not much going on, but I still added a couple points because, like I said, the camera work feels like it's intentional and works for what is happening here, and the setting itself sets that vibe, the mood that is required. And then the story, so again, Kurt's dad, Bert, is in the hospital, and everybody's really scared for him. It's really shaken them all, and they're just rallying around Kurt and being there for him. And even though Kurt at the moment doesn't really want it because of the religious connotations of it, I still think it's really sweet for friends to support each other like this and to show up at the hospital and, be there around your father's hospital bed. I think that's such an important thing. And it's so moving, This whole thing with Kurt's dad, all of it is just so sad. So, because he's by far like the best parent in this show. So, yeah. Overall, I think I gave it an 8. I gave the story an 8. So overall, that means it has a 23.5. Now again, I gave it that 0.5 because I was like, I can't say that this song draws or like ties with When I Get You Alone. It's a fun song and everything, but they're not level. You know what I mean? They're not the same. So I gave it that extra 0.5 for that. Right. Now this song is a perfect example of why I added the category story to my ranking, because honestly, this might be the best performance in Glee. Like I would be prepared to argue this point with anybody that this is the best performance in Glee. It's a music video, okay? Brittany and Santana sounds great all the time, but like Brittany, in this whole Brittany arc, like we were able to actually see that Brittany is more than just a dancer, right? Like she can sing as well. She's not gonna like lead on stage or anything like that, but like everybody has their strengths. The same way that I was saying, like Quinn's voice is specifically suited to some kind of songs, Tina's voice is specifically suited to some kind of songs. I think that Brittany is one of those, and this just fits Brittany and Kesha and stuff like that. Like that's her niche, and she kills it. So they sound amazing, they look amazing, they dance amazing. It's all amazing. There's nothing you can say about this that is not perfection. And the added onto the fact that it's Brittany and Santana and they just have great chemistry together and they look like they're having so much fun, they're in character, like even like their makeup, their hair, all of it, their attitudes, even they're fully in the characters that they're playing in this music video, and they absolutely kill it. Like I have so much fun with this song all the time. And then they're like, oh, are you ready? Uh-huh. Are you? Ooh, man, it's amazing. So the only reason that this is not the number one song is because of the story. Because what is the story here? Nothing. They're hallucinating. That's why they're having this performance. They're high at the dentist's office, like having a shared hallucination that they don't even try to explain. They just bring it up and be like, somehow we had the same dream, and move on. So there's not really much going on there. There's this small little tiny bit that I tried to give it, which was that the whole thing is like Britney coming into her own, I suppose, is the one half of it, and the other half is all of this is in service of trying to get Mr. Shu to lighten up and let them do like more recent artists or something like that, I think. Although it all does lead to the toxic performance, I believe, and that is something that happened. But yeah, so I gave it a 4. It's fun. It's a fun like story in the sense that it's a hallucination and it happens regularly for Britney Spears, but yeah, there's not really much going on there. So overall, it has a 24. Okay, I think that if whenever Santana and Mercedes sing together, it's gonna end up on my top 10 list. I think I said this in my last video as well. The two of them are an unparalleled duo. They have no competition. When the two of them perform together, I don't care. I don't care. Not Jesse and Rachel, not Finn and Rachel, not Rachel and Kurt, not Quinn and Sam. Nobody sings together the way Mercedes and Santana sing together. Not even Britney and Santana, okay? They're cute in their own way. They have their own things going for them. Me Against the Music is great. But Santana and Mercedes, guys, I don't know what else to say. They always kill it with the vocals. But their chemistry together, Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's like their voices go well together. Their energy is just matched. They're amazing. So, River Deep, Mountain High, first of all, is... I'm not gonna make an insane claim like it's the best duet on the show, but like, Jesus, it is high up there. It is so good. My cousin and my brother and my sister and I learned this dance just so we can perform it because it's so much fun and it's so much high energy and it's just so nice to like run around the house like, oh my God, it's so good. So we have on the vocals 10 out of 10, on the stage presence and the performance 10 out of 10, because as usual, like I said, the dance is great and you can see they put so much work into this, especially when you see the other performances that they do, like that the other duets do. Nobody did anything. These guys put together a whole dance. They brought the attitude. They were all over the place. I think it was just amazing, guys. Now, story-wise, it's not much. I think they're doing a competition for duets to see, like, whoever wins gets dinner at Breadsticks. Nothing there, right? However, I gave it more because of two things. First of all, the injustice, right? We all know that they were supposed to win this. If the only reason they didn't is because everybody voted for themselves and Rachel and Finn had their own weird agenda. But objectively speaking, and if Mr. Shu was half a teacher, we all know who would have actually won this, right? It really is no competition at all. But the second and the real more important one is that there is the added lore that the only reason Mercedes and Santana are even performing together at all is because Santana refused to perform with Britney. And the reason she did that is because she's still in the closet and she's in denial about her feelings for Britney and she doesn't want to give away anything. And the most hilarious thing about it is that she said she doesn't want to sing with Britney, but then because Britney's a girl and she doesn't want people thinking like, or realizing that she has feelings for Britney, but then she still performs with the girl anyway, so it really wouldn't have mattered. It's like, I suppose like the kind of song that she was objecting to as well. She didn't want to sing like a sappy love song or something like that, but she could have sang River Deep Mountain High with Britney, for example, you know what I mean? But anyway, the reality is that she is in love with Britney, and performing with Britney would give that away because she's just so in love and it would be obvious. So she ends up performing with Mercedes, and all of that leads to Britney dating Artie and yada yada, etc., etc. Now, that is a far more interesting story which I decided to attribute to this, even though it's not really the point of the performance. That's not why they're performing, but it is a reason they get to perform at all. It's part of the story, so I added it on there, and therefore I gave it a 6. So brings the entire total to 26. I feel pretty unpretty. Oh, what a beautiful mashup. What a beautiful duet. What a beautiful story. All of it just comes together to give us this absolutely beautiful song. And it's so interesting because I think this is the only duet between, I might be wrong about this, please don't quote me, but I think it's the only duet between Quinn and Rachel, which is strange because they're supposed to be the protagonist and antagonist of the show, right? Like Rachel is the main character and Quinn is her main foil, isn't it? Well, at least that's how this was supposed to be like. But I think like after season 2, Quinn kind of just, I don't know what happened, but they just kind of pushed her aside and forgot about her, and she shows up like every once in a while. She becomes more like Tina and Mike, where they're like, yeah, they're in the Glee Club, but like really side characters as compared to the others. And it's very sad. And I think this song in particular really shows us why, because Quinn's voice, as I've already mentioned, is so beautiful, but it's so different from Rachel's, right? Like Mercedes and Santana, they have voices that can at least compete with Rachel's in terms of volume, in terms of power, and that kind of stuff. Quinn's, I think, does its best when it's just allowed to be soft and sweet, and you can really hear that tone, right? And it comes across, it's so beautiful. And this song allows that to really shine through. And of course, Rachel is able to perform at many different ranges, so she's able to also restrain herself and her voice, pull back and not overpower. And so it allows it to blend, allows both voices to blend really well. And then you also have the different emotions, because we know at the time that like Rachel is going through all this conflict. She's conflicted, she's jealous and all this kind of stuff. At the same time, I think she's also just sad because she wants to be Quinn so bad. She wants to be beautiful and popular and all this kind of stuff. I'm kind of bleeding into the story now. Anyway, I'll talk about the scores later on. I'll just get all of my thoughts on the song out at once. Yeah, so you can see all of that even in the performance, with the way she's looking at Quinn as they sing when they're just like sitting on the stools and stuff like that. You can see how badly she just wants to be liked, and she wants to be beautiful and desirable, and she holds Quinn as the standard for that. And she just idolizes Quinn, right? And I think Quinn herself had a nose job. I don't think that is her natural nose in the show. So for her, the argument that she's making is like, if you don't like something about yourself, change it. Like, if you want to be more beautiful, you can be. If there are ways that you can do something to improve yourself, then you should do it. And I think that's the stance that she's taking. And Rachel is like, she's like flip-flopping between doing it and not. And the whole thing, it's kind of similar to the song Mercedes sang in season 1, which was Quitting the Cheerios. Beautiful, where it's like, that was her moment of coming to terms with, she needs to love herself and she needs to stop trying to fit some outside standard of beauty and just embrace who she is and love herself, right? And she was kind of passing that message on to other people. And that was a beautiful moment in itself. But this one is so different because that's not what this moment is. It's not like Rachel and Quinn coming together to be like, you should love yourself the way you are. But it's a moment of conflict for Rachel. It's this like push and pull between, everybody does have the right to make whatever changes they feel they need to make to their bodies to feel comfortable and sexy and confident in who they are. But at the same time, you also want to pass on that message that you should love yourself. Like, it matters why you are doing something. If you're doing it because it's what you want and you genuinely, this will make you happy, then that's one thing. But if you're doing it because you want to impress other people, you want to be desired by other people, you want to make yourself what you think other people are going to love, that's the problem. And that's where Rachel is at the moment. And like, it's all there in the vocals, it's there in the like facial expressions, and the story itself, man, I don't know, it's just so good. So scores, I gave 10 out of 10 vocals, I gave 8.2 stage presence, because I've been trying to think about it. I'm not sure what exactly I want more to push it to that 10, but I feel like maybe a little bit more on Quinn's end, to give, especially when they're just kind of sitting on the stools and stuff like that. Like, Rachel is giving the emotions and everything, and I would like to have seen a little bit more of that reciprocated from Quinn, I think. So I give it an 8.2 and then 8.5 on the story as well. So that's a total of 26.7. I don't know if there is a more, no, there is. I was going to say, I don't know if there's a more emotional performance in this one, but Jesus. Like, I honestly, I think top 3 emotional performances for me. It is so sweet. And you know, like, Kurt can do a lot of the pizzazz, you know? He does a lot of these performances that are eccentric, right? And we love them. We love to see them. Of course, they're a fun time. But I feel like this song, it just sounds so beautiful. And he's not belting or anything like that, but it's just like you can hear the emotion in his voice, and absolutely just wrecks me every single time I watch it. Like, it's just, sometimes these kind, you know, the best performances are not about volume, and they're not about like putting on a show and stuff like that. It's about telling a story and making us feel what you're feeling, and boy oh boy does he do that with this one. The performance itself, it's not much again, but like, it makes me cry because of the montage and everything. And you're seeing all these scenes with his dad, the mom's funeral, and him riding a bike, and then a tea party and all the stuff, and you just see how much his dad loves him. And of course we know that Bert is the absolute best father, but like, seeing it and how it's already so sad. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna cry again. It's already so sad because Kurt already lost his mom, but now he is going through this with his dad. We don't know, Bert might die, we don't know. So having this whole thing now, with him just being like, I wanna hold your hand, bro, it's I feel like it was the perfect song for the scene, for this point of the story. Like, just 10 out of 10 story, 10 out of 10 vocals, and as I said, okay, so like, the stage presence, the performance itself, as I said, not much is going on. I gave it a lot for the actual scene of the whole montage thing, but you know, that wasn't the performance that Kurt was giving. So I actually broke a little bit of my own rules there, but I had to do it because like, it's part of the song, it contributes. And if I'm going to talk about like camera movements and stuff like that for other performances, then I have to give it, right? Anyway, so that gives it a total of 28. So with this Thriller and Heads Will Roll mashup, first of all, iconic mashup. But we also get a pairing that I haven't been able to talk about yet, Santana and Artie. And I think that Artie's voice is an interesting one where I feel like it is definitely one of the stronger ones in Glee Club for sure. Um, Especially considering like before Blaine joins, honestly, he might be the strongest. He has a really, his voice is strong. His voice is, it has a nice quality to it as well that really suits Michael, and we see that way more in season 3 because they have the whole Michael episode. But yeah, here we're kind of getting that glimpse a little bit into what his voice can do, and it goes so well with Santana's as well. It like, it's a good pair up, and so not only do the song, this is like a good mashup of songs, but it's a good mashup of voices as well. And then we also have, I think it's Finn who's doing like the bass stuff, which is just fun. It sounds good and it's like a nice element to it all. Yeah, overall, I mean, I don't know, it's a great performance. I give it a 10. And of course, like the actual dancing and stuff like that is also 10 out of 10 because it's Thriller. They have amazing choreography. They look fantastic. The makeup, their costumes and everything. Everybody commits 100% out there on the field. It's great. It's a fun time. And it's one of those things where it's like you can really see what the Glee Club could do. Why they don't do these kind of performances on stage baffled me until like the end of season 3. Like, I don't know why, when they can do this kind of stuff. And then it also begs the question of why they're not more popular, because especially after this, maybe you could say before that they hadn't really done much, and their performances like to the school were like, no, I don't know, because I think okay, I don't know timeline wise where this comes in, but they have the Kesha, they do the Kesha song. I can't remember what it's called now, but oh, TikTok. They do TikTok. They do Toxic, which everybody loved. You know, cringy as it was for the rest of us, everybody loved it. They do. What else do they do that this school likes? Okay, nobody really cared about Empire State of Mind, but that wasn't bad, you know. And so I just feel like there's no reason why the whole school should still be thinking these people are complete losers. Like, they're obviously great performers. They should be more popular than they are anyway. So this is a great performance, and the story is also really good. It's that Beast and Mr. Shu are trying to get the football team, the Glee Club, to stop being so antagonistic. And so they have the football team come in and practice this performance with them. And Beast is like, you know, you have to do the performance or you don't play the game, which is so hard ass about it. And I love that because it's like, as I'm saying, it doesn't make sense the amount of hate that they have. Of course, we know why Karofsky, you know, is the leader of this particular fan club, but he's not alone, you know. There's also his other friend whose name I forget, but the black guy is also as equally hateful. And it's like, you know, it's like, why? It doesn't make sense. So I like that they're like, you guys just don't understand each other. You don't understand the Glee Club and what they actually do. So you're gonna spend time with them and you're gonna fix this. And it's going, you know, badly because despite the fact that they are actually enjoying themselves, Karofsky does have his internal problems and he can't accept it. He's paranoid and all these kinds of things, so he resists it and he quits. But they still do the thing. And so for the most part, I really like the story for this. But it's the one reason that I didn't give it a 10 is because he ends up joining the performance only after he's been able to see the crowd's reaction and that people actually love it and that there wouldn't be any risk to him being a part of it anymore. And to me, it kind of feels like it defeats the purpose of the lesson, because it's supposed to be that like he now understands more about the Glee Club or sees the value in it or whatever it is. But in the end, it's just like, he sees that they're getting the glory and the recognition that Finn's been going on and on about how they're going to be heroes and legends and whatever it is, but he didn't believe it, and now he's seeing the proof of it, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'll go and join in on that. So it doesn't really feel like a nice conclusion to this story. But there are football players who still did the performance before he joined, and he did join in the end anyway. So I didn't dock it too many points, but yeah, that's always been like a little bit of a sticking point for me. So I give it an 8, which brings the total up to 28. And finally, drum roll, we have our my number 1 song in season 2 of Glee, which is Landslide. The crowd goes wild. Listen, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I don't know if this is my bias towards Santana. I don't know if this is my bias towards Santana and Britney as a couple. I have no idea, and I don't care, okay? This song is amazing. I have no notes on anything. The vocals, bellissimo. Santana, of course, always sounds beautiful, but this one in particular, and also when she sings my days, guys, the emotion that Naya Rivera was able to put into her voice when the need arose, like, it is so powerful. You can hear and therefore feel everything that she is feeling in this moment. The fear that she has just of coming out and of rejection, and like, the anxiety of it all. You can also just feel the love that she actually has, and like, this is so sincere. Like, she feels so much for Britney, and she's like, she just is communicating it as best as she can. And then the other thing that I love a lot about this performance is that she's not the one leading it, right? Because why are they doing it this way? Because she cannot tell Britney how she feels. She can't. She needs help. That's why they went to Holly Holiday in the first place. So it makes so much sense for the song to be led by Holly Holiday, and then Santana is like adding on to it, like she's being guided, into speaking her truth. And then Britney is doing the lower harmony, and it just sounds so beautiful, all of it. And considering like Britney and Gwyneth Paltrow are not exactly, the best singers in Glee Club, but it all works in the way that it's supposed to work. It's a laid back performance. It's not one of those powerhouse ones. It's all about the emotion. It's all about the performance itself, which, oh my God, let's talk about the performance itself, because Jesus Christ, they were giving the performance of their lives. Like, Naya, I don't know, man. She came to earn her paycheck that day, because they're not moving. There's no dancing or anything like that. They're just sitting there. But everything about her, from her posture to the expression on her face, the look in her eyes, like, she's staring at Britney. She looks at her through the entire performance. You could think about it in so many different ways. Like, she's looking at Britney because, of course, she's singing this song to Britney. It's about how she feels about Britney, and she's trying to communicate this to her as effectively as she knows how. And so she's looking at Britney as like, this is for you, and I need you to understand what I'm saying. So I'm looking at you so you can understand me, Alternatively, she could be only looking at Britney, because if she looks anywhere else, she's gonna lose her nerve. Like, if she looks at the people that are there, the crowd that is watching, like, realizes that she's saying this in public, other people might understand what she's saying and how she feels, then she's gonna lose her nerve. She's not gonna be able to do it, right? So she just needs to focus on Britney. Or she's focusing on Britney because Britney gives her that strength, and she's like, I'm doing this for you. You are what matters. And so she's able to get through it because she's looking at Britney. It's like there's so many different ways that you can interpret this sustained eye contact. And then you're also getting the same, like, not the same intensity from Britney, but like emotion as well. Like you can tell Britney is also going through something. She does understand what is happening right now, and she can obviously see Santana is going through it. By the end of the performance, Santana is full on crying, and it's just like such a powerful performance in such an interesting way, with such a great song that you wouldn't even consider like this song for this kind of message, and yet somehow it just works. It is so perfect. I couldn't think of a single thing. Like I wouldn't want them to stand up and dance. I wouldn't want a montage of Britney and Santana's relationship here. I wouldn't want it to cut away to anyone else. Like I love the way that it was done. Just them and their feelings spilling out on the floor, and it's just perfect. And then you have the actual story, which I've already basically talked about, but it is in essence that Santana is coming out. And considering that this whole storyline started off with us finding out Santana and Britney are they like each other, or like they hook up and stuff like that, it was a joke at first. But then it became something serious, and now we've watched them go through all of this stuff with Britney dating Artie, and Santana trying to figure out who she is and who she loves and who she wants to be, and finally getting the strength to confess in the best way she can at the moment to the person that means the most to her. And even the fact that she's doing this in public, because she could have done it in private. She breaks up with Britney in private. Like, she could have just sang her a song, but I feel like part of the reason why she has to do this in public is the same thing. She just doesn't have the strength at the moment to do it. She can't have these conversations with Britney in private. It's why they go to Miss Holiday. And so she needs that, and she's like, okay, it's a performance in Glee Club, but she's not performing for the Glee Club. It's just the setting that's going to help her, get that. Like, if she pretends in her head that she's doing a performance, then she can get through it. But at the same time, it's like the emotions just get the better of her, and it's just like, oh my god. And then you put it in context that like 5 minutes from now, not even 5 minutes, she's gonna have a conversation with Britney, and it's not gonna go well. It has nothing to do with this performance, and it didn't contribute to like my giving it a perfect score. But it's just like, when you think about it in context, it also adds more, where you're just like, damn, she's just so brave, she's just being so brave in this moment, and Britney loves her so much, and she's so proud of her, and it's just like, it's beautiful and powerful and moving, emotional. It sounds gorgeous. It's perfection, and I cannot even begin to apologize for giving it a perfect score. So there's our number one, guys, with 30, landslide. Alright, so I finished my top 10, but I did promise you guys honorable mentions. I'm not going to go in as much detail, but just so you guys know, these are the ones that I think are good songs. I didn't put in my top 10, but also were not part of the ones that I put as like bangers. I felt like they deserved to be mentioned in some capacity, right? So we have Rolling in the Deep, which is a Jessie and Rachel duet. I like it. I do see it for what it is, and the two vocal powerhouses just going at it, very pulled back. I think only piano. It might even be a cappella. I can't even remember now, but it's like very toned down compared to what they both can do with instrumentals and everything in terms of grand performance. But vocally, very, very good. It's just not something that I listen to, but yeah, I can recognize it for as good as it is. Then we have Listen, because of course, how can you not have Listen? It is great. It's Sunshine Corazon, very good performance as well. Then you have I'm a Slave for You, just a great performance all around. It's not the kind of thing that I would give like a top 10 rating, but it is a great performance. It is Britney, you know, as close as I think anybody could get to doing a Britney performance. Amazing dancing and all that stuff. Of course, costumes looked amazing. But yeah, could only sneak it into an honorable mention. Then we have Le Jazz Hot. As I said, you know, these ones are not really my cup of tea, but I could give it the recognition that it deserves. It's a good performance. And then we have Just the Way You Are, another one that I wouldn't really listen to. I don't particularly like the vocals much on that one, but story-wise, it's an important one, and I do like the idea of it and stuff like that. Oh, would you look at that? I did put some Christmas songs on the honorable mentions. My bad. We Need a Little Christmas. We Need a Little Christmas. And God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. I think these are my favorite Christmas songs from Glee. I think so. Probably why I put them here. Then we have Trouty Mouth and Hell to the No. Because come on! Like, you guys cannot tell me those are great songs. Okay, Trouty Mouth is rude as hell. And apologies for whatever the actual real life consequences of that song were to the actor. But it's funny. It's so funny. It's just so stupid and trademark Santana Lopez that it makes me laugh every single time. And you know, I like to laugh. So, and then Hell to the No is a good song. Like, it's also very stupid. It's funny as well, but it's also just a good song. If they changed the lyrics a little bit, I feel like they could have actually just made that a song, you know. Then we have Born This Way, which is another one. Performance-wise, amazing. The dancing and costumes and all that kind of stuff, brilliant. The story behind it, amazing. But again, it's something that I don't really listen to, like, don't really feel like listening to ever. That's a me thing, obviously. But I'm like, this is one of those big songs in Glee that you're like, you can't not mention this song, you know, it was so important. And then we have Songbird, and lastly Pure Imagination. That one was so beautiful. Like, when I heard it, it's not one that I ever really think about, and I probably would have completely forgotten about it after I watched the show the first time. But it was just, it's like, when I was listening to it again for this, I was like, this is so touching and whimsical, and then like the whole context of it is so sad. Sue's sister is dead, and it's again one of those softer performances with beautiful harmonies, and it was just so good. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my top 10 list, what songs you would put in your top 10 list. If I have offended you in any way with my top 10 or my honorable mentions, I do apologize. Not really. I'm not sorry about anything. See you in the next one. Ciao!